Hey everybody, it's Nathan Nahle here, drawing some airplanes. I'm hard at work on the next Hazardous Tales book, and this one, if you didn't know, is a trip back to World War I. This book is going to be called Above the Trenches, and it is all about the airplanes and pilots of World War I, which is what I'm drawing right now. I am drawing a British officer who is mounting a machine gun on his plane. One thing that illustrators like to complain about, people who draw graphic novels and stuff, we always like to complain about what's the hardest thing to draw. A lot of people choose bicycles. Me personally, I think a classroom full of desks is really hard. You have to draw all of the chair legs and the desk legs and the actual legs of the students. Well, I found something that is even worse than both bicycles and classrooms full of people. Right now, I am drawing a biplane, and good grief, are they tricky to draw. It's kind of like drawing an entire classroom full of kids and a bicycle all at the same time. As you can see, I'm going back into the sketch right here to redraw some things that weren't quite right. This particular plane is called a Farman plane. It doesn't have the propeller on the front, it's on the back. It's a pusher plane. And these are really old-fashioned planes. We're talking 1914, very old style of biplane. And you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, biplane, I only see one wing on top of there. Well, the lower wing is something I'll be dealing with in a minute. Now, I'm not drawing while I talk right here. This drawing probably took about an hour, and I sped it up to about 8 times speed, so you didn't have to watch all of the boring parts where I'm kind of thinking things through. You'll also see me using the undo button a lot. I'll draw a line and not be happy with it, and then draw it again. So these funny little skis on here are part of the landing gear. These very low-tech planes had a lot more in common with like a kite than a modern-day airplane. So as you can see, when it comes into land, it's going to bounce off of those skids before the wheels hit. But this also makes it hard to draw while it's at rest, because then it's all tilted backwards. These planes, when I first started drawing them, I would use like a ruler tool to make really straight, nice lines, but it didn't made the planes look too rigid. And these planes are made out of like bent wood and fabric, and I realized that when I freehanded all of the spars and beams and everything, and it just looked like a more lively thing. It looks like something that could jump up into the air, an airplane. As you can see, though, it makes the perspective on things really hard. When I had to redraw that piece of the plane right there, it wasn't matching up with the spars behind the guy's head. See how it kind of, I'm going back and redrawing because I want to make it real, like it's really sitting there, but also lively and interesting, which leads me to redrawing a lot of the lines. If I mathematically drew it out with the ruler tool, it just wouldn't look as lively as it does. I started out really hating drawing these biplanes, but I'm really enjoying drawing them now because they're super interesting shapes to draw. They've got the big engine on the back. Now I had to remind myself. See, here I am looking at my research that I don't just draw these out of my head. No. Lots of visual research goes into these things, and I'm trying to just spot for this plane if the big engine is in front of the motor or if the motor is in back of the big engine, because I've seen it both ways. So I found out there it is. The propeller fits and sits on the back of the engine right there. You can see the little hole where the wing is cut away so the propeller can spin right there. The lower wing has been added on, definitely kind of fudging the perspective there to make it fit. The problem I've done here is I've kind of drawn through the officer in the front who's asking the guy what the gun is doing on the front of his plane. I'm going to have to draw that guy. You can see him in the sketch, but right now I'm so absorbed in drawing the plane that I'm just kind of ignoring that the guy is there for now. So I'm going back in, drawing these long supports that hold that wing that's on the back of the plane. Now I'm looking at how the little vertical fins go, because there's 2 of them back there. I was double checking on it to see if they came right off of those long beams, and they do. So I'm drawing those 2 fins back in it. Can you imagine controlling something like this? with that big engine kind of blowing right at them. Oh, now that I'm looking at it from a distance, they seem a little too close together. Keep in mind, of course, this is for one panel, so I can't spend all day getting everything exactly right. I'm going in to redraw the officer down in the front because I don't want him to overlap anything that's too interesting. So I've kind of moved him over the edge, given him a whole new layer to work on. There he is, drawn in that British officer's hat. If you recall, this is like Treaties, Trenches, Mud and Blood, where we made all of the animals into their national animal, or some animal that kind of symbolized the country. So these are British soldiers, so we are drawing them as the British Bulldog. So there he is asking us question. I'm going in there kind of cleaning him up and then cleaning things in the background that were kind of interfering with his face. We want to see the two figures, but we also want to see that plane. And I want the drawings of the plane to work in a way that somebody looking at it can go, oh, I get it. That's how it works. Okay, so really quickly, I used some straight lines just for the rigging, though, those really tight strings, because those would be really straight. I think the combination of those super tight ruler lines and the looser drawings of it, I think, kind of bring together like the tension and structure and shape of the whole thing. So there it is, coming in. Got to put the background in, which is, I feel sorry for when the time comes to color this thing. Oh, there's going to be so many hard to find little shapes in there, but you can only worry about one thing at a time. Drawing some of his tools in on the ground. Of course, a hammer's never going to be like that, but I like that. I wanted to show that they were tools. Here we are, drawing the background in. One thing that's hard about this book is everybody's always hanging out in their aerodromes, and aerodromes aren't particularly interesting to draw. They're open fields and distant buildings, and not the world's funnest scenery to draw. Going in and cleaning up the lines behind the word balloons, and then adding the tails. Here we go, just so you can see this one finished panel. And there it is. This will be out November of 2023. Look for it in stores. Thanks for watching, and enjoy those Hazardous Tales comics. Oh, also, let me say I am about 2 weeks into the launch of The Mighty Bite. The Mighty Bite came out this month of May. It has no biplanes in it, but it does have a million prehistoric creatures doing ridiculous things. So check out The Mighty Bite. Totally different art style this time around. This is not being drawn in the computer. This is being drawn on pieces of paper. So if you haven't checked out The Mighty Bite yet, go check it out. It is in stores, and watch for Nathan Nahle's Hazardous Tales Above the Trenches, out in November of 2023. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you later.